welcome to River Point and West End Church. We are so glad that you're here. My name is Ryan, and we are continuing a series called Keep Calm and Carry On, which can be very difficult for each and every one of us, especially if you watch the news or if you have social media. You are consistently aware of so many things going on in our world that can cause a lot of worry, that can cause a lot of anxiety. So we're taking a couple of weeks to look at some scriptures and some verses that we think can encourage each and every one of us to keep calm and carry on. The very first verse that I want us to look at today is found in John chapter 10. It says, "Therefore Jesus said again, very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who have come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep have not listened to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." A full life, not to be mistaken with a busy life. Some of our schedules are full, but doesn't necessarily mean that our life is full. And Jesus is making something available to every single person under the sound of my voice today that says, hey, I want everyone to have a full life. What do you think of when you think of a full life? Some people think, man, a full life is, well, a rich life. And you might look at someone that you perceive to be wealthier than you and think, man, that's a full life. You might look at someone who's married and go, oh, no, that's a full life, until you actually interview some married couples and you can find out. It may not be as full as you think that it is. Now, you might look at somebody that's got a dream job and think, oh, that's it. That's a full life. Or maybe you've been in someone else's home and thought, man, they got some nice stuff. This is a full life. Perhaps you looked at someone's family photos and thought, look at these guys. You ever just seen that matching family and thought, they can't argue? How can you argue in matching outfits? My wife and I were at Old Navy yesterday, and she got my son like this little button-up shirt, and they had it for adult men too. And she's like, you should get it too. I said, we are not that family. I don't know who you think we are. Maybe you look at someone else who's healthy, and you think, they got a full life. They don't have to deal with diabetes or lupus or some particular ailment that maybe you have to deal with on a daily basis, and you think, they've got a full life. Maybe you just think, man, if the world was just in a better place, if we just had world peace, man, that'd be full life. Or maybe what you think is really full life is really life BC, life before COVID. You're just thinking, man, we had it good and we didn't even know it, right? But we look at some of these things and go, that's full life. For it would be impossible to live paycheck to paycheck and have a full life, or to be single and have a full life, or work a job that you tolerate and have a full life, or maybe you're stuck in an apartment, you can't afford a home in this market. No way I'm ever going to have a full life. Or maybe you're just stuck with selfies. No family photo for you. Your Christmas card is you. That's it. Maybe you're battling an illness right now. Or maybe somebody you love is battling an illness right now, and you think it's really hard to have a full life. Maybe you feel like the world is on the verge of World War III, or maybe you just can't possibly see having a full life in the middle of a pandemic that we feel like is over, and then, oops, it's not. And there's this back and forth thing that can just cause us so much anxiety. And we're going, how are we supposed to have a full life with all of this? But I want to ask us a question this weekend. A question that may sound like bad news on the surface, but when we really dive into it, I actually think it could be good news. And I just want to ask this question. What if nothing changes? What if nothing changes. Here's the deal. I pray things get better. I pray things change. I pray that things, transform for you in a positive direction. But what if it doesn't? It's an interesting place to be as a person that follows Christ, to pray for something to change while having peace if it doesn't. And what I want to encourage each and every person this weekend is with this thought. A full life is available to each of us in every season of our life. In other words, when Jesus spoke these words, there was no asterisks. There was no, full life is available as long as there's not a pandemic. I mean, crazy. I mean, then we gotta change the deal. I mean, a full life is available, as long as you like your boss and you guys got a good relationship, then a full life is available. As long as everybody's healthy, then there'll be full life. And sometimes I think we're waiting for our circumstances to change to think that we even can have a full life. But the reality for the very first recipients of this message about a full life being available to them and hearing the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ, not one of them thought that full life meant American dream. Not one of them. When they heard good news, they heard something completely different. When they heard the gospel of Jesus Christ, they heard something completely different. The word gospel does mean good news, but it was used by Roman emperors to describe their birthday or any day that they deemed could honor their rule and reign. So there would be the gospel of Caesar, and it was a way of honoring Caesar. So when they started hearing the gospel of Jesus Christ, it was this idea, whoa, who is this Jesus person? What do you mean, the gospel of Jesus Christ? Now, Jesus is going around saying lots of interesting things, one of them being, I can give you full life. I can give you something even if your circumstances never change. There could be something going on the inside of you where your life could be full. Do you realize that first century Christians that were persecuted were burned at the stake with full life living on the inside of them? I don't know about you, but whatever Jesus was offering, I want it. I want that full life. When they first heard the gospel of Jesus Christ, you want to know what they heard? They heard, hey, we realize that you're under the rule and reign of an authority that you may not agree with. You might be oppressed. You might be in a situation that upsets you and brings a lot of pain into your life. But guess what? Jesus is Lord and Caesar is not. Jesus is Lord. Caesar is not. That was really good news for a lot of people who thought, is this all there is to life? Couldn't there be more? I love how the Apostle Paul talked about it in 1 Corinthians. He says, now, brothers and sisters, I want you to remember the good news I told you. You received that good news message, and you continue to base your life on it. That good news, the message you heard from me, is God's way to save you. But you must continue believing it. If you don't, you believed for nothing. I gave you the message that I received. I told you the most important truths, that Christ died for our sins, as the scriptures say, that he was buried and raised to life on the third day, as the scriptures say, and that he appeared to Peter and then to the 12 apostles. After that, Christ appeared to more than 500 other believers at the same time. Most of them are still living today, but some have died. Then he appeared to James and later to all the apostles. Last of all, he appeared to me. I was different, like a baby born before the normal time. He's going, hey, here's the deal. If you're looking for the credibility of what Jesus talks about, if you're trying to understand the good news, this is not somebody that just gave good advice. He's someone that is bringing us good news. But the only way that the good news could be proven is if he died and came back to to life. Jesus is alive. This was good news. It was going, wait a minute. He is who he said that he was. He really is God. He really can give his life up for us like he said he would and then come back. Okay, we're in. This is good news. This gives us all an opportunity to have a full life. Despite all of the horrible things that we can experience and see all around us, that you and I can still have a full life. So I want to give you 3 things today. 3 things that I think are going to help us walk in the full life I believe Jesus has made available to us. 3 things that I believe are going to help us to keep calm and carry on. The first one is this. Number 1, control what we can. Control what we can. So much of our worry, so much of our anxiety comes from worrying about things that are outside of our control. You want to know one of the number 1 things that you and I can control? Our attitude. We can control our attitude. We can't always control the circumstances that we think gave us the attitude, but we can control our attitude. And here's the deal. I know that all of us work with that one person that figures out a way to trigger us and bring out our bad attitude. And we think that they're the source of the said bad attitude, but they're not. Did you know that you can actually choose your attitude before you run into that person? Hey, here's the deal. It's Sunday, okay? You're not going to see them till Monday. You can prep yourself right now and say, you know what? I know Tony's coming to work tomorrow just like me. So you know what? I'm going to have a good day. And there is nothing I'm going to let Tony say or do to get underneath my skin. I refuse to give another person my emotional well-being. I'm going to make a decision about what kind of day I want to have tomorrow. And believe you me, Tony's going to come around the corner. Tony's going to pop on Zoom, and you're going to, but I already made a decision. It's too late, Tony. Sorry. I've already made a decision that I'm not going to spend time, emotional energy on things outside of my control. And here's the deal. You can't control Tony. By the way, if your name is Tony and you go to this church, it's just a name, okay? Like, I don't work with the Tony, and I don't have a thing with it to, like, I'm sure you're an awesome person, okay? So it's just a name. But we have to really begin to look inwardly and go, man, what is in my control? You can't control the past. And some of us are beating ourselves up from something that happened. All you can control is your posture towards the future. I know people that have court cases that are going, Ryan, you know what happened? No, I wasn't there, but I know that you can show up to court and be the best possible person you can be. So what can you control? But Ryan, I was innocent. I was set up, and I know, but what can you control? I love what 1 Peter says. It says, humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. In due time. Some of you need God to lift you up under his mighty hand right before Tony walks through the door, okay? In due time. And then he says, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. I wonder how many of us have seen this verse before, but didn't do it. Because what we're often pretty good at is actually casting our anxiety onto Facebook. We're pretty good at casting all of our anxiety onto a blog, onto the internet, onto other people. Let me get this off my chest and put it on somebody else's. How is that a good strategy? I mean, yeah, we might know the verse, but have we actually done it? Here's the deal. This is a much better plan for somebody that can take it For someone whose shoulders are broader than ours. For someone who's saying, no, come to me, like Patrick talked about last week. Come to me. Bring it to me. Where are you casting all of your anxieties? I'd invite each and every person to go to God with that. The second thing that I think is going to help us to keep calm and carry on. The second thing that I think is very pertinent if we're going to walk in the full life that Jesus has made available to us is number 2, lose the comparison game. I'd love to tell you not to play, but you're a human. So I'm going to tell you to play, but just decide to lose. I mean, we all have these computers in our pockets that allow us to see how everyone else is doing. And perhaps we can look at what everyone else is doing, what everyone else has, and come to a conclusion that we are somehow not enough or that our life is somehow less fuller than theirs. And it could just cause us to feel like we're behind and we can never catch up, and it just can rob us of a lot of our peace. I wonder how many people under the sound of my voice this weekend went to Corpus Christi for vacation, and it was like, oh, this is good. And then you went on Instagram and saw your friend in Cabo, and you went, oh, what are we doing? They got the waterfall pool. They got a pool in their room. You see that? This is amazing. What's wrong with us? You know how silly that is? Decide to lose. Like the photo. Hey, congratulations. You guys got a better vacation than us. You win. You win. Yeah, go to your neighbors. I love your pool. We don't have one. You do. I honor you for that. That's awesome. I'm glad you got a pool. You think me and the kids can come take a dip? You got a Tesla? Man, that's great. I honor you. Man, that's amazing. Hey, you win. You win best car in the neighborhood. It's awesome. I still got to go to the gas station. You just plug yours in. That's awesome. I mean, hey, you can look better than me. You're prettier than me. You can have better grades than me. You're more athletic than me. That's awesome. The world is better than me. That's awesome. But you know what? I may have lost the comparison game. But do you want to know what I win? My peace. My peace, ladies and gentlemen. I kept playing the comparison game. I just let everybody win now. Guys, it's awesome. You can just celebrate other people. One of my friends plays in the NBA. I'm not trying to brag to you, but the other day, both of our wives have the same birthday. So I said, hey, happy birthday to your wife. He said, happy birthday to your wife. You better spoil her today. I said, you better spoil your wife today. He says, what'd you get her? I say, we're not doing that right now. Okay, we're not doing that right now. There is no need. You win. No matter what you say, you win, buddy. You win. And I'm not telling my wife about this conversation at all. Feels good. It actually feels amazing to just go to work, go to church, walk around the neighborhood. You win. You win. You win. You win. And I'm not competing with people that I'm supposed to be loving. And I got a lot of peace. I love this verse in Romans. It says, let's just go ahead and be what we were made to be, without enviously or pridefully comparing ourselves with each other or trying to be something we aren't. Don't you love that? I wonder how many of us have been so consumed seeing what God has made everyone else to be that we actually haven't paused long enough to actually consider, Lord, what is it that you want me to be? Let me take my eyes off of other people and just go, you know what? I'm going to celebrate other people. I'm okay being the loser. And that's okay. Because I would rather lose the comparison game than lose the peace game. Some of you got to get your peace back. Now, the third thing that I think we all need to keep calm and carry on, the third thing that I think we all need to step into the full life that I believe God has called us to, is very difficult. And before they put it on the screen, I just wanted to prepare you mentally, physically, and emotionally to do number 3, okay? I think we can do it together. Are you ready? Number 3, give up complaining for 1 week. 1 week. Okay? I need you to give up complaining for just 1 week. All the married people in the room right now just went, he's amazing. Or you went, who is this guy? How in the world are we going to survive? Anybody with kids are going, Jesus Christ, help me. Anybody with a boss they can't stand is going, I didn't say I was going to do it. And if we're honest, in the 21st century, isn't the popular thing to do is to complain? Like sometimes you feel like if you're not complaining, you feel like you're out of the group. Like sometimes you complain about stuff that you're not even really mad about. You're like, yeah, lunch is terrible here. Yeah. I'm like, I don't care. It's like, actually, I brought my own salad. I'm not even upset about the lunch. But you can just feel like it's the thing to do online or offline is just, I want to be the chief complainer. And we're going to complain our way to better days. Are we? How's that been working out for you lately? How's it working out for you at your job? How's it working out for you in your home? I mean, if we're honest, we see this list of things we could complain about in the world that you and I live in. We could do this all day long and completely miss an entire another list of things we could be grateful for. Isn't it amazing? Sometimes we don't value something until we lose it. Let's not be those people. Let's value the people and things in our life. Today, let's not take for granted what's right in front of us, that we go, you know what? I actually got a lot to be grateful for. So giving up complaining for 1 week is just a week. Now, I realize some of y'all ain't going to be able to be friends with some people for a whole week because that's all y'all do. That's the only thing you have in common. You have to hang up on somebody. I can't right now. I'm sorry. Call me next Tuesday. I got you. But just imagine if you just said, you know what? Perhaps what is contributing to our worry and our anxiety is a constant need to complain about it. I recently lost a mentor of mine to COVID-19, and I've been reflecting on his life, and it's been a wave of emotions, and a lot of joy, actually, thinking about the life and legacy he left. I remember one time I was on the phone with him. I was just complaining about a person, probably about 30 minutes, just going on and on and on. And I'm going to give him a piece of my mind, and I can't believe they would say this about me, and da-da-da. I'm just going on and on and on and on. And he just said, hey, have you prayed about it? I mean, I want to ask you that this weekend. Like the thing that you have the biggest gripe with, the thing that keeps you up tonight, have you actually prayed about it? And I was like, no. And I have no intentions of praying about it, okay? But he needs to pray about it, okay? That's what needs to happen. But I just thought, I actually haven't prayed about anything. I complained about it. I ruminated about it. I called friends about it. I've done everything except pray about it. And then I'm shocked at the results. Can't believe things haven't gotten better. Perhaps my complaining and thinking and talking about it with my friends will perhaps change something. It won't. And he said, pray for an opportunity to be honest. And I was like, okay. And I did. And about 4 months later, this person came to me, and we had a very pleasant conversation that could have been contentious if I had gone in, let me tell you who I am. At some point, we're going to have to start acting like people that actually got good news. Isn't that you? Isn't that me? But would the people in our world even know it? Like if I went to someone at your job and I said, hey, you know Tony, right? See, Tony, I'm using you for a good thing now, okay? Hey, you see Tony over there? That's a good news person. Would someone be shocked? Someone would be like, good news? No, that's a good news person. Or would they be like, that makes sense? Always has a good attitude. Oh, yeah, them? Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I wonder how someone could have joy because our company is tanking, yet they come in with a positive attitude all the time. I've never understood it, but now I get it. Yeah, it's a full life person. Isn't that the kind of person that we all want to be? I love what Philippians 4 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. You might be here today. You may not even be a Christian. Your friend may have brought you, invited you to church, told you to watch this message. And you go, man, I don't know about all this Jesus stuff, but I could use a little bit of peace. 2, guard my heart and my mind from all of this anxious living and anxious thinking. I could use a little bit of that peace. I was in the waiting room with my mentor's spouse a couple of days before he passed. And she was praying that her husband would live, as was I. And she was sitting there, tears in her eyes, asking God to heal her husband. And then somebody else came into the waiting room to visit their loved one. And she stopped what she was doing, asked the person their name, and started praying for them. What kind of person does that? What kind of person has the ability to look outside of their external situation and show up for somebody else? A full life, good news person. And as horrible as the last month and a half has been for their family, when I sit with them, all I can sense is the peace of God. For somebody whose situation didn't turn out the way they wanted it to, but they still got peace. That's my prayer for each and every one of us, that in the anxious world that you and I live in, that we would be able to walk around and still be good news people, full life individuals that do our best to control the circumstances that are within our control. That say, hey, you know what? Comparison game, you win. I'm in the peace game, and I won that today. I'll sleep better at night. And people that just say, hey, you know what? Every now and then we take a week and no complaining from us. Someone says, hey, could you tell me about your boss? And you go, I'm fasting right now. You fasting food? I wish I was fasting food. Complaining. So I'll tell you about you know what, my boss? She, they paid me last week. They're great. But I'm not going to add to my anxiety. I'm not going to make a bad situation worse. No, I've decided I'm going to be very intentional with my words. Can you imagine what next week will be like when we just took a break from toxic conversation? I wonder at the end of the week if we looked at even some of our relationships and go, we got to do better about how we just talk in general. I think it could change our life. So whatever you got in your world that is too heavy for you to carry, I encourage you to bring that to God. That's how I think we can keep calm and carry on. God, I thank you so much for this church. God, I pray that you would help us to be good news people that have a full life despite what's going on around us. God, we do pray that some things change, but in the event that they don't, I pray, God, that you wouldn't get any less dedication from us. May we be conduits of your good news to the world around us. May we be full life people. Help us to control what we can, lose the comparison game. And Lord, just for 1 week, would you help us not to complain? In Jesus' name we pray. Everybody say it. Amen.